Hello, everybody. This is time actually we are two for recording. So my name is Andreas and this is my colleague is Hannah. We just thought we're going to do a little bit more entertaining dialogue rather than always my monologues, which are sometimes maybe a bit lengthy and boring. Today, what we really want to talk about is the retired visa option into France, but we actually want to go a little bit deeper than the usual information you find on the internet. And Hannah actually is our France specialist. She's also doing other countries, but she has special knowledge on particular this visa. So I thought it's a good idea to get together and just do a little bit of a question and answer session. So maybe just as an introduction on the retired visa. So, I mean, everybody knows, or at least the information is out there, that if you have 15,000 euros in annual, we will discuss that, savings, income, etc., you might qualify to actually spend a full year in France, and you can then extend the stay. And obviously, if you have a residence, even if it's a temporary one for France, you can travel within Europe without any hesitation. So it's a very low threshold, and we just wanted to discuss a couple of requirements. So Hannah, over to you. So I think in practice, one of the questions we always receive is really, how does the 15,000 euros have to be shown, right? I mean, what's the income and what's the source of income? If you can just elaborate around that, please.
Yes, absolutely, everyone, and that's definitely one of the biggest questions. And the brilliant news is that it's not limited to being a pension or a retirement annuity, because this visa category is quite broad actually, and for any non-active long-term resident in France, your 15,000 euros per year can come from savings, dividends, remote working, rental income from property. All these are options for you to show that you have those funds of 15,000 per person. That's an important note. The 15,000 euros are per person, so if you're with your partner, it would be double that amount. Okay. And there's of course always a minimum. The more you can show, the better. And the interesting part about the remote working is that it is definitely possible. One just needs to be aware that it should not be for a French or European.
Tell me, and how do you show this then? I mean, with a bank statement? I mean, does this bank statement need to be certified, or I mean, how does it work in practice?
So again, depends on what it is. If it's savings, yes, then it's your bank statement. And then otherwise you would be showing the source of that income. So remote working, your employment contract, rental income, the lease agreements.
But it could be a lump sum, right? It doesn't have
yes,
to be, it could be a lump sum. Fantastic. Okay. And you answered me in another question already for the spouse, but I will come to that a little bit later. So is there actually a minimum age for this? I mean, do you need to be 50 years old like in Mauritius, or 60 years ideally like in South Africa? Is there any minimum age, or can you do that in your, I mean, Nana is in her 20s, so can you go to France and retire if you wanted to?
So there's no minimum age, and yes, technically I could. However, there is a requirement to show the motivation and the background behind moving on a long stay visitor visa to France. So if you're my age, that will need to be really well thought out and have a lot more to it than somebody who's in a typical retirement age.
And then how long is the visa issued for?
So the visa is issued for 1 year. It needs to be converted into a residence permit once you're in France, which is an online process. And then after that year, you can renew it from within France. No need to travel back to South Africa. Okay,
that was my other question. So the South Africans wouldn't have to go back to South Africa to renew and reapply. They do everything from France.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right, that's very convenient, I have to say. And another question I often face is, do you have to own property to qualify for that? I mean, I know the answer, but I mean, I just wanted to ask it because I mean, it's a question we regularly get asked, right? I mean, so do you need to own property?
It's an important question, and the answer is no. So you need to show that you have available accommodation, but this can be leased property. The requirement is generally to show it for the first 4 or 6 months. It doesn't need to be your full year covered. And if you own property, that's a bonus, but it's not a requirement for the visa at all.
So far, it's obviously it's a very low threshold, right? I mean, 15,000 euros in savings, and you're kind of in. So, is there any other red flags? I mean, is there any other requirement one needs to meet, and which is important to know?
Yes, an important requirement is definitely to have health insurance, which is really the third big requirement, and this needs to be quite specifically health insurance for France, not travel insurance. And it needs to include certain things like a minimum coverage and also repatriation, which might seem counterintuitive, but is important.
Okay. So, all right. So health insurance, the money, obviously, these are the crucial things, and you don't need to have property, correct? I mean, that's really good. And then tell me, you already mentioned it right in the beginning, but I just want to reiterate that. So if you're a married couple, okay, so one spouse has the 15,000 euros, and what about the other spouse? Do they need to have their own 15,000 euros, or can they be attached, like in a lot of other visa immigration countries and systems? Can they be attached as a spouse?
They need to have their own 15,000 because this visa isn't specifically for retirement. There's no dependent category as such. So every person applies in their own right, meaning they need to meet the full requirements, including the amount of 15,000 euros per year.
Okay, fantastic. And then lastly now, because obviously it's on our YouTube channel and we also want to obviously assist the South Africans. So maybe just spend a minute or so and really explain how you can assist the South Africans want to go to France. So what's the services you offer and what's actually your daily involvement with this?
Yes. So as a first step, we make sure that all the requirements are in place, that the person who wants to go qualifies. We spend a good time just consulting and ensuring on that. And then we assist with providing a detailed list of the requirements, completing or pre-completing all required forms. I mentioned a motivational letter, so we would assist with drafting that to make sure that meets the boxes and regulations of what the practical requirements are to make a convincing case. And then we can assist with procurement of documents if they're required to be translated or legalized. And lastly, once you've moved to France, we work together with our trusted and very experienced partners so that you also have assistance with the registration process in France and anything related to that. For questions we also get is tax questions, and that's something that we personally would then refer to a specialized tax consultant, and we're happy to do that. So you really, can make sure that that is also covered.
Yeah, I think on the tax, there's two issues. The one is obviously the financial immigration from South Africa, right? So we would cooperate with somebody here. And then the connected question would be obviously liability in France. And we would connect then our clients to the right partners, but we don't do this ourselves. But that would be an added benefit, right? If people sign us on, they kind of get a carefree, comprehensive package, and we do the immigration. Fantastic. Hannah, thank you very, very much for all your knowledge and your contributions. Dear viewers, I hope you found this useful. Please contact us if you have any questions regarding France. As I said, I think it summarizes very well. It's much easier than everybody thinks. To get into the European Union, you do not have to spend €500,000 euros on Malta or 350,000 euros in Portugal necessarily. France is open, is interested in you, and we can help you with that. So thank you very much for that, and speak to you soon. Bye-bye.